Coming up on this episode of Focus, a year has passed since Hurricane Sandy brought life on the East Coast to a standstill. Focus reporter Brittany Garzillo surveys the recovery efforts at the Jersey Shore. Then Grover Silcox brings us a profile of Dave Fry, the musician behind Bethlehem's legendary Godfrey Daniels Listening Room. We take a look back at the Lehigh Valley in pictures with Morning Call photographers. And finally, I share the story of a Catholic nun reforming convicted criminals one man at a time. It's all on this episode of Focus, and it starts right now.
Focus showcases the people, places, and issues that matter to you.
Everybody has a story.
These are the stories that uplift and inspire right here in your neighborhood.
Focus on what matters. You never know what you're going to see when you tune into Focus.
Support for Focus is provided by
the people of Air Products feel privileged to bring this programming to you. By supporting education and the arts, Air Products strives to improve the quality of life here in the Lehigh Valley, where we call home.
You're safe at home at Luther Crest, a Diacon senior living community in Allentown. Our mission is to offer premier accommodations and services so residents can cultivate a healthy and fulfilling retirement. At Luther Crest, we offer independent living apartments and cottages, personal care, skilled nursing, rehabilitative services, and more. Plus, the Luther Crest team strives to provide each person family-like support. You might say it's like a home run. Luther Crest.
News doesn't stop. We cover it 24/7, 365, because that's what our readers demand from us. You need to know what's going on, who's playing by the rules, or who's breaking them, who's winning and who's losing. The full range of the human experience plays out every day in the pages of our newspaper and website. The platform you choose to engage with us is your business. Delivering the news is ours.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Laura McHugh. Welcome to Focus, where we showcase the people, places, and issues that matter to you. We begin this episode with the storm that brought the region to a standstill. In October 2012, Hurricane Sandy slammed into the East Coast. In Pennsylvania, thousands lost power for days. Schools shut down for a week, and businesses crawled to a halt. Even our offices at the station closed for almost a week. But the impacts here look minimal compared to the devastating damage suffered at the Jersey Shore and beyond. Many of us returned this summer to beach towns still recovering from Superstorm Sandy. Here with an anniversary roundup, Focus reporter Brittany Garzillo. Brittany?
Thanks, Laura. Less than 3 weeks will mark the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Sandy. Her wrath is attributed to more than 200 deaths, from Haiti to Jamaica, all the way north to Canada. And when she made her landfall in New Jersey on October 29, 2012, she caused havoc not only to homes, but to hearts. Reports show that the storm caused an estimated $50 billion in losses, placing it among the worst disasters ever to hit the United States. And now, 12 months later, is still weighing heavy on the hearts of those who stood innocently in her path.
Will be affecting some 60 million people in its path.
Contained one of the most intense record barometric pressures ever recorded in this half of the planet.
And it is not good news for those who live in the northeastern United States.
The second most powerful hurricane in history, with hurricane-force winds extending 175 miles, killing at least 186 people. Hurricane Sandy hits the record books as the second costliest storm in American history. The ferocious natural disaster uprooted thousands of lives along the New Jersey coastline and beyond. A year later, Hurricane Sandy's wrath still lingers.
What was the cost of the damage? Around $70,000.
Since last fall, New Jersey received over $5.5 billion in federal assistance in response to Hurricane Sandy. Governor Chris Christie's administration launched numerous programs and grants designed to help homeowners and renters get back on their feet. They also launched a $25 million state tourism campaign to help bring business back to New Jersey.
When we say we're stronger than the storm, when we celebrate the reopening of these boardwalks and the clean beaches and all the thousands of people on them enjoying it, it doesn't mean that we think everything is done.
For many, much more needs to be done. According to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, approximately 40,000 primary homeowners sustained a minimum of $8,000 worth of damage.
There's a lot of people who really have some tough decisions ahead of them.
Secondary homeowners weigh those tough decisions as they receive no government assistance at all.
There's been no help for second homeowners. Even the main homeowners are fighting still for sometimes their insurance or any other grants or subsidies.
This is the case for Lehigh Valley residents Mary Sue and Joseph Catula. Their 700-square-foot house in Ortley Beach, near Seaside Heights, sustained over 4 feet of water damage, leaving it gutted down to the rafters.
There's not one clear direction on what you have to do, and it's never been clear.
But Mary Sue says the challenges since Sandy are most difficult. Their options, renovate or demolish and rebuild, leave them feeling defeated.
For the most part, we had a good run. We had 20 good years of lots of good memories.
Peggy and Tom Lindsay from Staten Island share that same sense of loss. Their home in Manahawkin was 90% renovated when Sandy struck and destroyed everything.
All new appliances, nothing was plugged in, but it was brand new. We had brand new wooden floors. When we went back, the floors looked like this.
For the Lindsays, their beach house was more than a home away from home. It provided a sanctuary for their autistic son Tommy, who suffers from the incurable genetic disorder tuberous sclerosis.
It's hard to take him places, so that was his place that he could be comfortable in.
Despite the lack of financial aid, the Lindsays say they won't give up on their beach house, like they won't give up their fight against tuberous sclerosis. With Hollywood actress Julianne Moore by their side, Tommy's story reached national news and was even brought to Congress. The Lindsays hope perhaps another miracle is in store, but this time for their house at the Jersey Shore.
I just love the shore. I love the memories that have been created here with my children, and it just brings everybody back together.
It was such a time of family, friends, and togetherness that families don't see a lot of anymore.
It'll be a difficult day for folks. And remember, October 29th, 2 years ago, we had that blizzard. So, man, I'm just hoping that nothing happens.
Weeks after Governor Christie uttered those words, devastation struck New Jersey again. A 9-hour fire raged down the Seaside Pier boardwalk, disseminating over 50 businesses. Officials say the incident was triggered by an electrical malfunction due to age and the raging waters of Hurricane Sandy. To combat future storms, Governor Christie recently signed an executive order to begin dune construction. But scientists like Dorxa Hagen of Lehigh University say this temporarily fixes a much bigger problem.
It's very difficult to tell people, well, this is more vulnerable now, you need to move away. This land is gone. A storm like this will surely happen again. There's no telling that will hit exactly Atlantic City, but these storms will come farther north than they have done historically, and they will be larger and stronger.
Nearly 1 year later, it's still a long road to recovery for victims of Hurricane Sandy, but the Catulas and Lindsays say they won't give up the fight, even if it means a new kind of New Jersey.
For more about Hurricane Sandy, tune in to PBS 39 Tuesday at 7 p.m. for a new episode of Nova called Megastorm Aftermath. Laura?
Thanks, Brittany. In our next segment, Focus reporter Grover Silcox introduces us to a local music legend. In the 1970s, Dave Fry helped launch Bethlehem's Godfrey Daniels Folk Listening Room. Since then, his musical career has taken him from entertaining adults to children. Grover's here to tell us more. Grover?
Thanks, Laura. Just about every major singer-songwriter and band began their careers performing at small bars, bistros, and local hometown venues. In South Bethlehem, Dave Fry, a local musician, and Cindy Dinsmore created a room for musical artists to perform and hone their crafts. Since 1976, Godfrey Daniels has served as an oasis for both aspiring and popular folk artists. Here they play their music and share their world with eager audiences. I had an opportunity to speak with Dave Fry and a singer-songwriter who performs at Godfrey Daniels about this amazing listening room.
Nothing you say ever comes out right.
Singer-songwriter Dina Hall performs the cover song of her album, Logic in the Heart, at Bethlehem's legendary listening room, Godfrey Daniels.
Changes don't come easy.
She honed her craft on this stage over the past 13 years.
I had heard about this Godfrey's, and I had come here at one time for an open mic.
She kept coming back, and the room became like an incubator for her developing talent.
I've learned, I've watched, I've become extremely comfortable on any almost any size stage.
Dave Fry, founder of Godfrey Daniels and a folk musician himself, watched Dina evolve.
She became a regular at the open mic, was working on her own songs, developing her stagecraft, meeting other folks in the community. I'm really proud of the fact that she's learned from all those experiences, not only watching the professionals on stage, but applying it to her own stagecraft.
Since its inception in 1976, the nonprofit membership-driven Godfrey Daniels has served as home for local performers and an oasis for professionals on the national circuit who thrive on the intimacy of this 100-seat room.
Some performers will put on the show. The show doesn't work here. You have to show a slice of your humanity.
My son is very calm. He's an engineer. He's very calm. He's very clean cut. He's like, comes up, Mom, you gotta go play something upbeat. I had to play the song, which was their wedding song. I'd be the moon when the sun went down, just to let her know
You have to talk to the audience, and you have to play your tail off, because the audience knows the difference. You can't hide it.
The crowd is open to listening. They really do appreciate listening. They're here to appreciate the soul and the emotion that's going into it.
That's how strong my
On this Friday night at Godfrey Daniels, Dita opens for singer-songwriter Christine Havrilla, who joins her for a song they do together. Performers here sense strong community support for their music.
There is a community aspect here that supports all the performers, whether they're amateur or professional.
Dave and the other performers who call Godfrey Daniels home find that same community support outside the club, too. Dave plays gigs with his band Rock Roots or solo at schools for kids or even at his alma mater, Lehigh University, on a weekday afternoon. But wherever else they go for gigs, Dave, Dina, and hundreds of their fellow performers call Godfrey Daniels home base.
Here, you really just have to trust the performer to take you away. You really have to be open to being entertained.
Sometimes an hour I'm all alone. See your
Godfrey Daniels, the little listening room with a big draw for performers and audiences alike. For Focus, I'm Grover Silcox reporting.
Thanks, Grover. My next guests have chronicled local history in a new book from the Morning Call, Looking Back To. Reporter Daniel Patrick Sheehan and visual journalist and photo editor Monica Cabrera searched through 100 years of the newspaper's photo archives to select a decade-by-decade look at the Lehigh Valley. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, first of all, how much fun is it for you, Monica, as a photo editor, to look back at all these photos?
Oh, it's amazing. I learned so much about the photographers that were there before before my years. Just the things that they had to shoot, the equipment that they had to shoot with. It's amazing.
And share with me, you brought along an important memento. It's actually a camera that you can tell has been damaged. And this camera is really what started the entire book, is from what I understand.
That particular camera is a relic of a very tragic story from the late 1950s. There was a gas fire in South Allentown outside a place called the Mountainville Inn. And one of the darkroom technicians from the paper was on his way home, and he stopped to take some pictures. And he joined some people on the porch of the inn, and the inn exploded, and it killed him and six other people. And a few days later, they recovered the camera from the rubble and were able to develop the photos in it. So these are the last photos of Lester Kraft, who was like I said, he was a darkroom technician. He had ambitions of being a full-time photographer, so he lost his life in pursuit of that. And it's a stunning story, really, and it's not remembered that well, but we have that artifact from it.
And is it true that this camera had been sitting in the newsroom for some time, and you guys dug up that story and found out the story behind it?
Yes, originally it was in a back stockroom. And I know when I first started years ago, maybe like 12, 13 years ago, I questioned it. And some of the photographers there mentioned, oh, it was a lab tech who was an aspiring photographer. Then we kind of forgot about it. Then, when we started talking about this book, I remembered that being on the shelf. So I pulled it out, I cleaned it up. And coincidentally, I went into the basement of the Morning Call archives shortly after that, just looking for other negatives, you know, things we might have to scan for this book. And I found a larger, maybe 16 by 20 framed image, all wrapped up. I turned it around, and it was actually a portrait of Lester Craft with 3 images that he had shot that had survived the explosion, the fire.
And so for you as a photojournalist and a visual journalist yourself, I mean, this really is a testament to what you do and the danger you put yourself in.
Yes. When we're called to scenes of fires, explosions, it's almost like we forget sometimes about our own safety, and we just become these machines who want to capture those images. We want to be able to bring that to our public and to our viewers to be able to see, you know, what we're photographing, the scene, what happened, and so that they can kind of live it.
It's something we take for granted sometimes when we look at the online or we look at the newspaper and see these beautiful images, especially the ones in dangerous situations.
Sure.
And it says something about the value of a book like this, that we ourselves in the newspaper business kind of forgot that story. It you know, as the generations passed, it disappeared even within the building until Monica recovered it, and we were able to reintroduce it. But that's what a lot of these photos in this book are about. Recalling times and places and events that were big deals at the time, but just might be, you know, have the dust, a layer of dust over them now, and we can blow it off and show people.
And so I love it because it's separated decade by decade, and so I was hoping we could give viewers a sneak peek at what they might see in some of that. Starting off with this photograph from 1949, and it shows several polio patients laying down in iron lungs.
One of the real horrors of the polio epidemics, which flared up periodically until the Salk vaccine eradicated it. It was a paralyzing disease, and some people escaped with, you know, relatively minor paralysis, and other people ended up in iron lungs, which were essentially breathing machines to keep them, you know, they were respirators, and they were just awful-looking things. They looked like coffins, essentially.
They do. They look like torture chambers.
Right. And you know, these children, probably within 10 years of that photo, would have had that vaccine available to them. So it's just heartbreaking to see that image. But it reminds you that, you know, we take a lot of things for granted in terms of medicine and healthcare. But it wasn't very long ago that there were a lot of lurking dangers that we've, again, forgotten about. And that image brings back one of the really terrible fears of parents, especially in the 20th century, was polio.
One of the next photos we wanted to talk about was taken in 1960 during a visit from future President Richard Nixon.
We did a book last year about presidential visits, and 1960 was a turning point year for the Lehigh Valley and for Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania actually started to become a swing state.
Right.
So in October of 1960, we had this remarkable 10-day stretch of visits from John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon, who were the Democratic and Republican candidates, and their running mates, Lyndon Johnson and Henry Cabot Lodge. And Nixon spoke. JFK kind of did the celebrity thing. He got a lot of attention and hysterical women and, you know, cheering. But Nixon actually took advantage of the trip to do a fairly substantive, significant foreign policy speech at Muhlenberg, I think is where that photo was taken, where he talked about Cuba and other foreign policy issues. And at that time, actually, he got sort of the same treatment as Kennedy did. He was very well regarded, and people were trying to jump over the barricades to shake his hand as his motorcade went through, you know.
Well, from political history into the history of pop culture in some of the selections from the 1970s, there's this fantastic photo of what appears to be 2 women painting a Monopoly board on the base of a pool.
Mm-hmm. That image was shot by photographer Ken Clauser. And in this whole process, I've gone to his house on several occasions and had nice conversations with him. He's awesome to talk to. He remembers driving by and seeing these girls painting the bottom of, I believe it was their grandmother's pool. So he just went over and had a conversation with them and photographed them doing this, and it's an outstanding picture. He's real excitable. When I mentioned that I was going to use that one, he was thrilled about it.
And then in 1979, this great photo of 6 little kids riding in a row, and they're all riding big wheels, which I certainly remember from growing up.
Sure, the big wheel was the thing to have.
Yeah.
Ken's a good example of one of the great photographers that we've had over time at the paper, because they don't just take shots of these, dramatic events. They keep their eyes open and they see these things. As Monica said, they stop and they notice someone. Oh, look, someone's painting a Monopoly board on a pool. Let's stop and talk to them, and they get these really memorable images.
Well, these are just a handful of the more than 200 photos. Is that right?
More than 230.
1910 to the present.
Yeah.
And how can people access the book, and when will it be available?
Well, it's going to be available this fall. We don't have a firm date yet, but this fall, and they can buy it through our website. That's mcall.com, and there's a link at the top to our store, and you can order it through there.
Great. Thanks so much, reporter Dan Sheehan and photo editor Monica Cabrera. Thanks for being with us, and congratulations on the book.
Thanks.
Well, finally tonight, the story of an unlikely match between convicted criminals and, of all people, a Catholic nun. For 20 years, Sister Virginia Longcope has operated a halfway house in Bethlehem for recovering addicts transitioning from prison and treatment facilities back into society. Take a look.
Every Tuesday afternoon, 75-year-old Sister Virginia Longcope walks through the doors of Lehigh County Corrections Center, signs in, and winds her way through security.
What does that say about inside, how you feel inside? What does that tell you?
Leading a course called Intervention, Sister Virginia meets with inmates and emphasizes building the low self-esteem that drove them to abuse drugs and alcohol and end up in prison in the first place.
And once a person can feel better about who they are as a person, they don't have that need for another substance.
Sister's dedication to helping rebuild the lives of recovering addicts extends beyond these few hours a week. It goes on around the clock at Stevens Place, the South Bethlehem home she shares with up to 5 recovering addicts at a time.
I believe very strongly that people can change if they have the right resources. Not everybody wants to change. I understand that too. But those who do want to change, I like to give them the opportunity.
Since 1993, Sister Virginia has given that opportunity to about 200 men transitioning from prison or rehab back into society. Less than half of the men who live at Stevens Place ever go back to prison.
When my life was in a crisis, she was the person there to rescue me from that. I owe a lot of where I'm at today to Sister Virginia. She definitely contributed to me getting my life together and becoming the person I am today.
56-year-old Bucky Walk moved into Stevens Place in May 2012 when he got out of Lehigh County Prison after his second arrest for driving under the influence.
I almost did die, and I probably would have died if I wouldn't have gone to prison. I couldn't even go 2 hours without drinking, and now I'm coming up on 2 years sober.
Bucky credits his recovery to the support and structure he receives at Stevens Place, where Sister Virginia emphasizes responsibility, accountability, and honesty. Residents have to wake up by 8:30 in the morning, get home by 10 most nights, share household chores, look for and get a job, and attend 90 days in a recovery program.
If you can't follow the rules here, you're not going to be able to do it when you leave here. And that's basically what it's all about, to get you ready to go back into the world and be able to manage your life without drugs or alcohol.
Named for the man that gave Sister the idea more than 20 years ago, Stevens Place runs on a budget of $84,000 a year and gets most of its funding through small grants and donations. If they're employed, residents pay about $80 a week in rent, but they can show up at Sister's home with nothing more than the clothes on their back and a willingness to abide by the rules.
Most of the people who leave here because they can't keep the rules usually go back to jail.
Former residents describe Stevens Place as a safe haven, A place to stay when they fear their old homes will lead to old habits.
I think this house inspires hope and empowerment, and helps them develop the self-esteem to be able to go out and become who they were meant to be.
Rob Walters is one of them.
Thinking back 13 years ago when I came here, I never would have imagined I couldn't see my hand in front of my face, you know.
Rob spent 2 years living here from 2001 to 2003. Now with 13 years sober, he's since graduated college, gotten married, bought a home, and just had his first child, a baby girl named Gracie.
It's the foundation that I got while I was here. That was the most important thing. Nothing I have today I would have had it not been for the core foundation that I was able to establish while I was here.
In the future, Sister Virginia hopes to continue creating success stories just like Rob's. Her ultimate goal, to establish a long-term funding source to hire someone to replace her and continue the legacy she's created at Stevens Place.
So Sister Virginia definitely admitted to me she's a little bit crazy for doing what she does, but that her success rates are better than the national averages, so it's working, whatever it is.
Yeah, she seems so sweet, and like, who would think that she's doing that in her spare time?
And she runs a very tight ship. She has rules, and if people don't abide by them, they can no longer stay there. So it's how it works for her and for these gentlemen that she works with. But Brittany, it was amazing to see the recovery efforts underway.
There are a lot of recovery efforts, and a lot of things are happening. And if you go there, you really do see all the things that they've done. But unfortunately, behind the scenes, there are a lot of people still hurting, and especially for those secondary homeowners that aren't receiving anything from the government. They have a lot of problems to face ahead.
And you're going to see a different story every town you go down the coast.
Right, exactly. So even though it seems that things are, picking up, there's still, if it's your house and it's your situation, it's not over.
Thanks so much for your reports tonight, guys. Pleasure. Well, we would love to hear from you. You can find more information about tonight's show and send us your feedback online at WLVT.org/focus. Thanks for joining us tonight, and remember to focus on what matters.
Support for Focus is provided by
the people of Air Products feel privileged to bring this programming to you. By supporting education and the arts, Air Products strives to improve the quality of life here in the Lehigh Valley, where we call home.
In 1948, John Walson put an antenna on top of a mountain and ran a cable back to his television store. Cable TV was born. Now, over 60 years later, his vision has changed the way we get our